Functions allow you to perform a piece of logic you need often with a single command. Let me show you how that works. Before we get started, if you find this video useful or if you have any questions, I would love to hang out with you. I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also find me on Discord. The links for those are in the description down below. Again, functions allow you to perform a piece of logic you need often with a single command. They allow you to simplify your code by making it both more modular and dynamic. They also drastically help in reducing the amount of maintenance on your code for situations where specific logic is needed often. For example, it may be tempting to simply copy and paste a section of code in various places because it's quick, easy, and you know that logic works. But what happens when you need to change how that section of code works? More than likely, you'll also need to make the same change in all the places you copied and pasted that section to. So now, what took 15 minutes to build with copying and pasting will take 30 minutes to an hour to hunt down every instance of that copied and pasted code and change it. This is where functions truly shine. Let's assume you want to make a simple function that adds two numbers together. Such a function can be declared in one of three ways, which you can see on the screen. In each of these function declarations, there are four major parts: the function name, the parameters, the function body, and the return value. The function name works in the same way as variable names, so that shouldn't be too surprising for you. The parameters are the variables found between the parentheses. They can be named anything you like, and you can have as many as you like. Parameters may also be any data type. They're the values used in the function body that help us to calculate the return value. You may also have no parameters if you don't need any. The function body is the code found between the curly brackets. It's basically the same thing as an if-else statement body or a loop body. This is where you can use the parameters that you declared before. The return value is the result of the function. There can only be one return value in a function. If there is more than one return value in a function, the function will end when the first return value is encountered. This can be useful for error checking in a function, but otherwise, there should typically only be one return value within a function. For example, if you wanted to ensure your function only added positive numbers, you would do something like what you see on the screen. It's also worth pointing out that this is an arrow function. Arrow functions are the new way to declare functions and work in the same way as normal functions, with the exception of how they handle the this keyword. The this keyword often deals with classes and objects, which are beyond the scope of this video. Put simply though, the this keyword allows a function or object to reference itself. In normal functions, the this keyword will reference whatever called it, such as an object you've created or a button on a web page. In arrow functions, the this keyword will always reference what the function is created within. If that makes no sense to you, don't stress too much. I've left a link in the description with more information on arrow functions and its use of the this keyword in the description down below. For general advice, use arrow functions whenever you can, especially if you don't need to use the this keyword. If you do need to use the this keyword, start off with an arrow function, and if it doesn't work in the way you expect, try using a normal function instead. In order to use a function, You call the function name, followed by the arguments you want passed into the function. For example, you can output to the screen, add two numbers with the arguments of 5 and 3, or you can create a variable, in this case named sum, using the function add two numbers with parentheses 5 and 3 separated by commas. It's important to note that there are distinctions between parameters and arguments. Parameters are the variables declared and used in a function. In our example, x and y are our parameters. Arguments are the values passed into the function. In our example, 5 and 3 are our arguments. When a function is called, the parameters are given the values of the arguments passed into them. In our example, x now equals 5 and y now equals 3. When it's all said and done, functions allow us to make our code more abstract. In simple terms, abstraction in software means that you are calling a piece of code and expecting a result without really caring how you got the result. All you really care about is if the result you're getting from the piece of code is the one you expect. When all of your functions work as intended, the end result of your code looks much cleaner, is easier to read, and is drastically easier to modify and maintain. And that just about covers the basics of how to use functions in JavaScript. In the next video, we'll talk about scope, which is basically understanding when you can and cannot use certain variables in your code. If you found this video useful, like and subscribe so you can be notified of future videos. If you have any questions about anything covered in this video, feel free to catch me on Twitch or Discord, or leave your question in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome.